following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
Oh, and welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host, as we get some more rock and roll in this market. We're up 20 points today on the S&P cash now, where we had about 2.5 billion shares at this time yesterday. We got about just a little over 2 billion shares. We had one of the lightest opens this year in the first 15 minutes. Not a lot of volume back in there. A lighter back out here today. And the question I think we have now is, how will the markets open up on Monday after, we basically have a free day here where most of Asia is closed for their May Day celebrations. They call them Labor now. But, of course, it used to be Commie Day, and what they used to call May Day. But celebrating the great communist achievements, which basically weren't very big until they actually adopted some level of capitalism. But I digress. Anyway, it's going to be very interesting to see how some of those markets open up on Sunday night. But my guess is that we're probably going to see additional weakness after pretty much all the Thursday shenanigans and the dot-coms. It's 10 times worse over there in China, and just see whether they think that any of the things that are happening in our market, like, the super big 20, 25, 30% haircuts in one night in earnings, have anything to say about it. Of course, we've got stocks that they have stocks in the Asian markets with basically an average of PEs of 250. So if you think that companies like LinkedIn got a haircut, just the wrong one word, I have a feeling, in China could cause a multitude of LinkedIn's happening overnight. We continue to probably look past it as far as we can. And there's no shortage to the amount of people that continue to scream, buy, 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 buy at every pullback. That, in fact, what you're going to do is end up with 15-point ranges in the market, and that's all we're going to need. Yeah, in Korea and Japan, you had to stay on camp on May 1st. I remember my parents warning about me going out on May 1st when I lived on Hawaii, because apparently there were a lot of commies there. I don't know what the deal was. I don't remember seeing any. I just remember that we had to stay in on the base too. So I don't know. That seems like even they won't call it May Day anymore. So maybe it's a thing of the past, but it's kind of interesting. Kind of very interesting to me is the way this market is moving. When you look at the IWM up 60 cents today, up 0.5%, not much of a correction out here, which pretty much says that everybody's going into the usual suspects. They're just getting more narrow, and the leadership is getting very narrow. But we'll continue to watch how this works. But it's there seems to be kind of almost a Pavlovian response now to make sure that this market does not go anywhere. Options so far didn't see a lot of reaction with them yesterday, and they still show pretty much that market makers have no idea where this market is going. But we'll get into that a little bit later. In the meantime, we'll start off with a little bit of history repeating.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1975, Wall Street cries as May Day, as brokerage commissions rates are deregulated by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, despite dire predictions that commissions would cause a profit emergency. May Day ends up making Wall Street more lucrative than ever as rising volume makes up for lower fees. Some brokerage even get downright clever for giving customers 20% discounts on Avis rental cars and other ways of back channeling money to customers. It's amazing that in history you get so many of these same kind of things going on. In the 50s, the movie industry was sure that television would destroy them. In fact, it became a huge revenue stream for movies after they left the theaters, and it always has been. So what else you have out here? Anyway, no different between this and others. People are always saying technology will ruin their business, and I guess if it does, probably your business deserves to be ruined to begin with, doesn't it? If you're not keeping up with stuff. But I digress. Other things of interest out here. Probably the most interesting thing to me was George Soros, of course, one of the big men of Wall Street, always running around telling everybody how they should be paying more taxes. Well, apparently he's got a tax bill of about, what is this? Where is it out here? That would be somewhere around $6.7 billion because of the way that he has organized some of his deferred payments. Basically, when you find these laws that are passed and they have a long time before they pay off, but Congress basically closed a loophole in 2008 and ordered hedge fund managers who used it to pay the accumulated taxes by 2017. Well, none of these guys have. So they're going to have a ton of cash to pay off here in the next couple of years. Like I said, Soros, $6.7 billion in tax. And we've got some people that are basically tax experts figuring this stuff out. But they keep deferring these things. They will have to pay these by 2017. And the question is, do you think these guys have got $6.7 billion they can liquidate anywhere quickly to come up with this cash? It's just, he's one of many out here. This is probably the biggest hypocrite since he's telling everybody else everybody should pay more taxes, yet he's the one using every loophole out there. But George Bush signed the law that said they would have to do that just before he left office. But it is going to be only an issue out here. Anyway, what else do we have going on out here? We'll take a look and see if there's anything else happening. 2105 looks like 2.1 billion shares. So 15 minutes, 100 million shares. Doesn't look like a whole lot of volume going on right now. We'll have to see how this market closes. I've been looking at 2108 as the resistance level, but we'll continue to monitor this. Like I said, option people really don't have any idea. They're not betting on wide price range up or down between now and expiration on the 15th, but we'll continue to keep an eye on it. And of course, we'll go and look at the IWM first, because if there's one that I think that's probably telling the truth of this market, maybe not the truth of the minute, but of longer term, is the fact that none of these people are climbing back in these IWM stocks. Maybe you can make a case that you got a light volume bounce out of here, but certainly not what we're seeing in a great deal of the other stocks out here. And of course, all you have to do is look at this chart to look at the almost 73 million shares yesterday to the 27 million shares so far, 28 million shares so far. Not a lot of love, not a lot of hugs out here for these IWM stocks today, at least the ETF. And of course, we continue to see stocks getting the smackdown treatment, and LNKD is that stock. Kind of surprised to the reaction on this. Not only that, but the reaction of a lot of people that look to be falling knife buyers. Several people last night on CNBC and this morning were all gathered together, hugging it out and saying that they would be huge buyers of LinkedIn as it came down below. I think I saw lows, I think 183, 186 after the bell last night. Low today is 198.40. Not a lot of range out here. I've heard a lot of people talking about some speculation about people with high, margin in some stocks, and apparently LinkedIn was one of them. And this may be something that goes away in a couple of days. But there is a lot of margin. I always used one cardinal rule, and that is wait 3 days. Because after a huge move like this, you got to know that at least some people are on margin. And the market is pretty adept at making sure that it hangs out 3 days until margin players are pushed out of the market. I learned that early on in my life when I inappropriately used margin in my trading account. Now I'm much smarter. I know that options are the way to reduce risk, not put more on. And a lot of people would probably be well to think about that. Anyway, you came down on monstrous volume out here, 187.61. There's a gap out here also at 180. And my guess is that you may get some little bit of gap and fill in LinkedIn. Their business still looks to be good, but I have a feeling it was the 1-2 whammy of the jobs numbers that look rather poor. And of course, probably not real great execution on advancing growth in the markets. And that may just be a function that there aren't a lot of jobs. Of course, LinkedIn, unlike Facebook, tends to have a lot of business thrown its way by headhunters, people looking for specific kinds of people. And if you go on LinkedIn, you put your profiles up, at least they know where to hunt your head. And it's been pretty good, but apparently a lot of advertising dollars not coming in for that. Probably when we look at Facebook, I know there's people discussing that the top of the social media bubble has burst out here. Facebook a little less obvious in that. And I continue to think, well, what do you got out here? It is problematic to say the best that, it wasn't like bad volume at this 86.05 after earnings out here. But again, we've been talking about these asymmetrical triangle patterns out here. And as they continue to bounce out of their earnings, they all seem to have come back in very much like Apple. I didn't even look at Apple here in the last few. Back above 127.19, up $2. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And we've got gold up, gold down, $8.70. We've got silver off 5 cents. Platinum's down 16.5 bucks. We've got crude off 65 cents, and the dollar index, which is kind of interesting to see it pop back out here today. The question is whether or not this is a false breakdown of that 96.30 level that had acted as support for a long time. Of course, in the dollar index, we're 95.23, up 63 cents today on that. And I guess if you're a Forex trader, you got all the excitement that you can stand and then some. But kind of tough to see how all that plays out. As far as stocks moving out here, Altera came off earnings, ALTR. They weren't that exciting, but it's up 8% because, of course, they started those rumors out there again that Intel is going to buy them. It's just hard for me to see Intel buying them. Volume's good on today's bounce at about 13 million shares. You know, you're going to be up here with pretty much the same kind of volume you've seen on April 10th and March 27th. You know, their deal goes out till when? I've got it written down here. Their standstill agreement is set in place until June 1st, which could allow Intel to have a hostile bid, But my guess is that they're not going to go after that. It just doesn't seem like it's even close. Tesla was off another very dubious product push last night. They're off a little bit. They opened up higher. Of course, they're going into earnings. I think that's, when is that? I think their earnings are, okay, it's Tuesday of next week. And they're doing everything by hook or crook to make sure that the stock stays up into earnings. I don't know if that's because they got good earnings or bad earnings. I do know that the company's vastly overpriced, and stocks that are vastly overpriced continue to go even higherly. Higherly? It's not a word. Even higher as the bigger fool theory comes on. They're dubious battery rollout. I actually looked through it and what it would mean to me if I went and bought their home battery backup system out here, and kind of nuts. I figured it'd take me about a 20-year payback, and doesn't sound very smart to me. And that's a 20-year payback if we don't count that the thing never needs maintenance and or the batteries last for 20 years. They're probably not going to last but 10 years. In 5 years, they'll be down 30% in their capability, and they'll be dead in 10 years. And that continues to be the problematic issue with Tesla and Mr. Elon Musk, and that is he's got a perishable product that's sold like it will last a lifetime. And it doesn't. Neither the solar cells nor batteries. These are all things that wear out, not like an airplane in 20 or 30 years, not like maybe you can make it more like a car. But the idea is that if you had a car that was the same for 1/10 the value or 1/2 the value, would this kind of car actually make any sense? But he's kind of out there on the far end of it, hoping that technology will catch up to him. But I just don't understand the whole idea. It's a lot of wishing and praying and hoping, but not a lot of reality in the way that these things, at least monetarily, are working out. Why am I so dubious about the battery idea? Because I know they die. Yeah. Diving on the generator will decline. I can buy a nice Generac generator for half the price of his batteries. Put propane out there, and that propane will sit for 10 years. And all I have to do is go out once a year and probably change the oil in that Generac energy or the generator, and that's it. In fact, there's Generac generators, standby generators, propane ones that are already 30 years old. And for the most part, you can kind of clean them up and go back to work. I had one up north, and I liked it. I needed it because the power lines were so long to the city. It was out in the boonies. I just don't understand it. Electricity is so cheap in comparison. That's why. Maybe if it gets more expensive, that'll tell us something different. But to this point, even natural gas is half the price that anything Elon Musk is pushing. We will be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're like me, you see the world's emerging nations as a very real opportunity, as these countries and their economies are developing right before our eyes. And you can rest assured that Everbank has spotted this opportunity too. In fact, they just recently unveiled the new 5-year market-safe future economy CD. This is a CD that could really deliver, but you only have until May 7th to take advantage. Consider the facts. If the future economy's currencies beat the US dollar over the CD term, you'll get all the upside. And should they lose, no worries. There's zero downside risk here, as you still get back 100% of your deposited principal. Intrigued yet? The May 7th funding deadline is quickly approaching. So hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN-CD for more information, including important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN-CD. Everbank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And 2.25 billion shares at 2107 on the S&P cash. So, boy, do we have a nice push up here on light volume today. We got 30 minutes left. We'll see if we've got less than about 2.6 billion shares by the time I end this show. We've got another whale of a signal of light volume out here. Again, I've been kind of thinking that with China closed today, that it's certainly going to be how China opens up on Sunday night that's going to really dictate how far and where our market goes. But I don't know. I see a lot of people just kind of whistling past the graveyard out here. And I still, even after the market moved and was incredibly ugly, saw about 5 people for about 5 minutes all decide that maybe things were a little worrisome, and then right back to buying this morning. This is very much how the dot-com market really felt in 2000. And that was you basically go after hours and see a stock up 50 points or down 50 points. And that's when gambling takes over, and not a lot of people putting a lot of thought into much of anything. It's that's when the market becomes a game of skill into a game of chance, and the gamblers take over. But we'll have to see whether that truly happens. I think we're at that point, especially with the PEs, and that is, do we just go to some level of insanity like the dot-com era again, or do cooler heads prevail? And, maybe a little bit of this is money coming in for fund buying, or maybe part of this is them holding it up so that when they buy on Monday, they have to buy at fairly decent highs. The street doesn't like suckers in the 401k getting in anywhere close to a decent price. So I would just say if we had real fund buying and real 401k money coming in, I think we'd see a lot more than 2.2 billion shares today. But I do digress. 2106 now, so we're kind of bouncing around there. Be very interesting to see if this market would close back below 2100 by the end of the day, or even lower if we get some kind of massive blowout selling into the weekend. The reason I bring that up is just the ludicrously light volume we had in the first 15 and 30 minutes, making records there, and the light volume we have up against yesterday's heavy down volume. A few stocks out here that look like maybe they found some temporary bottoms. Alibaba out here has been bouncing around this previous March 3rd low. That had 39 million shares at $80.03. Haven't pierced it, got close to it today on 14 million shares. My guess is that we will test that probably by Monday and maybe get a clear signal out here. Other stocks of interest. Come on. What do we got going on here? Why is it not picking stuff up? There we go. Bungie Limited back up into its gap. Kind of interesting to see these big ones, and even copper moving today. This one came down on horrific volume, bone-chilling volume on the 12th of February of 5.8 million shares. We're back into it yesterday with 2.1 million shares, today with 1.4 million shares. This is about where you want to start taking your swing on some of these if they do end up giving you a decent signal to start shorting out here. BKS, Barnes & Noble. Amazing that this thing's still in business. Who buys paper books anymore? I didn't really see a lot in there. There are some stocks coming down that don't look all that bad. This Chegg, CHGG, had a big sign of strength on the 24th of February. Almost 10 million shares. Got back into it today with 500,000 shares. So not bad when you look at this particular one coming back and trying volume at very light. I mean, what is that? 5%? Something like that. Ridiculously low volume. Operates student-first connected learning platform that empowers students to take controls of their education to save time, money, and get smarter. I'm going to have to find out more about this company. Don't know a lot. CRL is another one that I wanted to see how it was doing out here. This one had come down to its previous lows and blew through it with volume yesterday. Charles River Laboratory, they do a lot of lab work for doctors. And this thing blew through its gap up, which was almost a sign of strength back when it happened on the 11th of February. This blew through it with monster volume of 2.2 million shares compared to the gap up of 1.2 million shares back there in February. A little bit of reversal today, a little bit of volume out here. When you look out here on a bigger scale, it doesn't have that much farther to fall. There's probably some decent support around 65 bucks. But my guess is this blew through the top and it's going to get back into that 65, 62 range fairly quick. Lab tests on mice? They sell rats. Ugh. Well, maybe that's why. Maybe, do you think that they play that song Ben a lot from that movie? Ben, you've always been a friend. I'll have to find that during the break. Super creepy, wasn't it? I don't know how many people remember that movie, Ben. Yeah, Willard. Michael Jackson, that's who sang that song. I'm going to have to find it. It's super creepy, but it's like a love song to this rat. And I guess the one guy could talk to the rat and get all the other rats. The one rat would command all the other rats to talk about it. Oh, Willard was the white boy version of that movie. Okay. Oh, boy. It was a super creepy song, though. Anyway, I do digress. But We have our fun. They sell mice. I thought that they also did a lot of testing last time I looked. Let's check just to make sure. At least we'll see what they say they do. Out here, early stage contract research provides drug discovery and preclinical development services worldwide, operates through 3-segment research models, discovery and safety assessments, and manufacturing support. Microbiology defined purpose-bred rats and mice for use by the researchers. I don't know. What do they all bet on which one goes through the maze the fastest? For purpose-bred rats. I wonder what their purpose is other than to be tested on. But I think I know. Normally what they do is they make sure that the rats are all genetically very the same so that they don't get a lot of outliers in when they do the testing. Houston, I found the coffee. Okay, Crazo Oil, CRZO, another one back up here against its highs. This one kind of broke through a consolidation congestion zone that started in early November and ended in late November, around that $55 range. It went through it with 1 million shares. So the volume wasn't all that great. Things kind of tucking back down in here. That's why I'm thinking we've got pretty good resistance levels in most of these energy stocks now that we've had a nice bounce back up. Some of these other stocks are breaking down. I wanted to see how HZO was doing. I think this company is actually out of Clearwater and Tampa. If I remember right, Marine Max is a company that sells a lot of boats. They basically got an exclusive on Wellcraft and some other boat lines. So no one else can sell them, and they basically just mark the living daylights out of them. And as long as they have a good market, the resale market holds up for their boats, and that's what they sell. And they get a lot more cash up front when they buy the boat or when they sell the boats to customers. But if I remember right, this was all the attorneys that won all the huge cash from the tobacco settlements down here. And they went in to form this Marine Max company, if I remember that all right. Anyway, this would suggest that the consolidation is at least fairly close to over in this one. Of course, they sell big boats, 100,000, 200,000 million to 5 million. I don't think they sell like $100 million boats, but mostly that. Now, this gapped up on the 29th of January, right before the boat show season, on fairly decent volume of 1.6 million shares. As we've come back down into this gap the last 4 or 5 days, 700,000, 500,000, 400,000, 400,000, 560,000 yesterday, today, 169,000. Maybe part of what, gas? Is that maybe just because gas got cheap and now this thing, gas kind of coming back up? Maybe it's more of an issue of gas. Those things are gas hogs. I had that Carver cruiser I lived on for 6 years. I can just think about my $500 fill-up bills back then in the mid-'90s would be $15,000, $2,000 now. We're going to go to Chris in Neoda. I want to say Neodesha, and he knows that, Wisconsin. How you doing?
How are you? Did you take a look at WPRT?
You don't even fight it anymore now, do you?
No, I don't. It's
as I crush the name of his fine town. WPRT, right?
Yes, Westport.
Yeah. Okay. What's your question on this?
Do you think that this time around it's going to push through that resistance there at about 485? It's knocking on the door now.
No, I just don't see a lot of push for natural gas. Really looks to me like Toyota, of course, is going to have their hydrogen cars that they're pushing out to go up against Teslas and electric cars. And to me, that's probably the better play out here right now is fuel cells over natural gas cars. And like I said, I think I've said this before. Maybe it was to you. Maybe it was another caller. Until you get somebody like a president that decides that they're going to put natural gas fill-up stations everywhere, this is going nowhere.
Sure.
I mean, you got to do it if you really wanted to push natural gas, like T. Boone Pickens said, you got to get at least the interstates all, with natural gas stations, so you at least can run the semi fleet on it, right?
Well, they're
not
doing
going
that down on Highway 40, I think, Flying J's.
Yeah,
And
there's a couple of them, but until somebody mandates it and that you can go I-70, the isn't it? Doesn't that run the entire United States from one coast to the next? Until you can get some major interstates like that just have it every 30 minutes or every hour in the truck stops, it's going to be incredibly tough. These guys really tried to make a lot of money and did early on overhauling Ford like F-150s and that kind of stuff with natural gas, putting the tanks in the trunks, in the beds of them, since they had a lot of room that was easy to put them in. They do bigger trucks too. The problem just comes back again to, can you do this with the semis? I guess the answer, at least from T. Boone Pickens, is yes. But I just don't see it, especially with Tesla pushing very hard on electrics. And Toyota's new car, that was the pace car, I think, in last week's NASCAR race. It's kind of an ugly car. I have to admit that. But I don't think people are buying Priuses because they're the best looking car out there. They're kind of trying to make a statement about them being eco-friendly and all that. But to me, I think it's going to either be electric cars with supercapacitors, or it's going to be fuel cells. I just don't. It's hard for me to see natural gas as the savior of internal combustion engines. I know that it was a huge amount of effort to make very small chemical compounds that would hold natural gas at much lower pressure rates. And that kind of went for about 5 years and went nowhere. The same kind of thing for hydrogen. They're just using higher pressure tanks now.
What's holding back the fuel cells?
Yeah. What's that?
What's holding back the fuel cell technology? What do they need to do to make that work?
Find something that doesn't use gold or platinum.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing is any one of these things that really take off have huge problems. If we got anywhere close to building the amount of electric cars that Musk wants to build, there would be no lithium. They'd be out. I mean, it all comes from Chile for the most part. The same thing, I mean, what would gold prices be if everything went fuel cells? Gold and platinum. There's a lot of discussions about new catalysts. And those catalysts could not be gold and platinum. And that would change things. But literally, you've got a technology that is just so good compared to the alternatives now. And it's a little thing called gasoline. It's just so much better than everything else. And we've got tons of it. So what else do you want?
Well, thank you.
We'll be back in a minute. Thanks for the call.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to the Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Do you know the 7 most critical factors that influence every decision you make, and how not knowing these will jeopardize the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve? I'm Steve Rhodes, morning host at TFNN.com, and for the last quarter of a century, I've studied and used the secrets of human growth, the same formulas used by leaders of nations, billionaires and millionaires, and the most successful athletes on the planet. Would you like to break through any obstacle that gets in between you and the success you deserve? Would you like to turn fear into strength? If you could find a way to achieve, be fulfilled, and live a life of meaning, wouldn't you want to know the answer? I'll teach you the factors that control your state of mind and the drivers that impact every thought, emotion, behavior, and action we take in my new webinar, The Psychology of Trading. Join me for this 2-part online event where I'll unveil the secrets to human pattern recognition, because they're not what you think. And soon, you'll have the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on The Psychology of Trading to begin your journey now.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're going to get to a couple of stocks. One wanted me to ask about ALB. And they make a lot of chemicals for fire retardants and fighting fires, that kind of stuff. They also make chemicals for fracking and a lot of other stuff. Food safety, chemistry services make a lot. This thing had basically come down pretty much on, I suspect, on the weakness in their fracking business and some of the special chemicals that they make for refiners and people that are doing that. Also, cracking catalysts and additives. This has basically come back and done everything it should. The one thing that you know is this thing's got a high volume low back down here to January 30th. It's testing its previous high out here on a half volume. It's everything that you want in a short. The energy in this last leg kind of came out. If crude's going to go back down and test $42, my guess is that this would not be a bad vehicle to go back and ride it on. Probably a little bit less volatile than crude itself. But interesting. I know that they used to make Halon when it was still available. And some other stuff. I think that said that on my boat. We were talking about lithium in the previous segment. If you really wanted to play this, to me, the choke point for all of this is lithium, and I think 45% of it all comes from mines in Chile. This chemical mining of Chile changed changed its name some time ago, and always gives me fits because I forget the new name, Chemical Mining of Chile. SQM is the symbol on this thing. And I made some big money on this when everything was taking off for the lithium-ion batteries. Haven't played it in a while. But, you know, if you want something that if you really think these batteries are going to be a big deal, to me, this is the way to play it. Tesla, if it's going to be a battery company, it's going to be a slave to this company. Because without the lithium, they're not going anywhere. If someone comes up with a better battery chemistry than lithium, then that would be very interesting. But to me, you've got a single point, and that is the lithium concentrations. It's a rare earth metal, but again, rare earths doesn't mean that it's not around. It's just not around in high concentrations that make it easy to get. Of course, it's in fairly high concentrations, I think in 5 to 7% of the mines that they have down there in Chile and SQM. So they are the lowest price provider. But all they have to do is cut off a little bit of production, and guess what? You've got the equivalent of OPEC for lithium, and it's always going to be problematic. What else do we have? DGLY, 30% short interest. DGLY. Take a quick look at that. Someone brought that up in the den. Yeah, another one of these in an asymmetrical pattern. These things are just everywhere. Not a bad looking chart out here. And again, if you could get something moving, it would be very interesting with a 30% short interest. When is their earnings coming up here? See if we have an earnings date. I see Tom O'Brien warming up in the bullpen. Well, I guess they just had earnings. It says the 23rd of March, so you don't have earnings for a couple more months. Is that the 23rd out here? Yeah, 24th. That $16.24, 27-cent high was it, and you're kind of back into it. But this is kind of an asymmetrical triangle, too, in this thing. And like I said, these things are everywhere. Lower highs, higher lows, and boom. One day out of nowhere, these things take off or blow up and go down. We'll be back in a minute. Well, I'll be back in Tom O'Brien's 4 o'clock hour with the Tech Insider. See you then.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.